I'm Bianca.
And I'm Shawnee.
And you're listening to Mindful BS,
a weekly discussion about how we mindfully navigate through life's BS.
The major, the minor, and everything in between.
So you ready?
Let's do it.
Welcome back to another week of your favorite podcast, Mindful BS. I'm Shawnee.
And I'm Bianca.
And we are back with a very special episode, you guys. I know Bianca's tired of me, but I've literally been talking about how excited I am for today's episode for days.
She really has days.
You have to say, look, you can already tell I'm working her nerves. And we will get into what is making this episode so special in a moment. But before we get there, how have you been? How's your week been?
My week was good. After my last birthday, I really feel a significant shift in energy and things and my feelings around me. And the one thing that I really noticed is how important just peace and sleep are to me. I just be needing my peace so bad, and I be needing my sleep. I will gladly just get off work to sleep or look forward to the weekend just so that I can sleep consecutively for hours. And it's just I don't know when I got this way, but my body be feeling so much more appreciative of me taking the time out to really rest. And I know we always talk about resting and getting it and how important it is, but I feel like I'm really feeling the difference, the significant difference that I feel once I'm rested versus not rested. And that's not even just physically, mentally too. At work, I got a lot of projects that's coming up, and it feels overwhelming. And I'm just really trying to ask myself how I'm going to structure, my days to make sure that it's not overwhelming and to make sure that I'm not mentally driving myself crazy either. So that's just where I've been at this week.
I love that. Yes. Rest is so important. And you're right. It's actually scientifically proven that sleep does improve your overall mood, helps reduce stress. It actually makes what people don't realize is you're actually more productive when you're well rested. You know what I mean? So you make sure y'all take some time to rest.
Yeah.
My week. I don't even know where to start. Maybe, okay, so my weekly recap is going to be more of bullet points. Okay. So number one, this week, I feel like I realized I'm just such a hopeless romantic. And it actually really disgusts me to say that out loud. But I just like all of the little cute stuff that you see in movies, which is really horrible because we know life and relationships and all of that stuff, it does not happen like it does in the movies all the time, but you can have moments. And I'm realizing this week that I am a hopeless romantic, and I'm just going to embrace it. Okay. I'm going to stop fighting,
As you should.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. So that was number one. Number two, guys, I want to share something with you guys, but you have to promise me that you won't judge me because I'm really opening up right now and being super, super vulnerable. And what I want to share is that for the past 2 weeks, I've been eating Subway. I know. I know. But yes, I have been eating Subway. It has had me in a chokehold. I can't stay away from the freshly baked bread and all of, the nice, cold, fresh goodness that are Subway vegetables. I can't stay away. I'm trying out. I don't know what happened. I feel like we've been conditioned to, when you think of Subway, be like, is that even real? Man, what's going on there? But you guys, it's been so good. It's been delicious. It's been a nice change of pace from the normal, fast food or fast casual restaurant. So all I'm gonna say is if you haven't been to Subway in a minute, just check them out. Just get a 6-inch. Or if you don't even want all the bread, they now have these wrap type situations. I don't know what it's called exactly, but even get the wrap. It's so good. And just trust me. Just trust me on that one.
Yeah. Also, be mindful that if you haven't had Subway in a while, the prices have went up. Okay.
Baby. So much for $5. No,
track that, because after Shani had her revelation, I ain't been to Subway in a minute. Y'all know how we do. So I pulled up with Bree And
Hey,
just
sorry.
$22 on just us. And I'm like, oh, baby, what happened to the $5 foot
Well,
long?
no, they're definitely not $5. They're definitely more like 10 low key if you get one of the classic subs that we're aware of. But they even have a whole bunch of new combinations of like
They
sub
read these
sandwiches.
days.
The menu, yeah.
Yeah.
You guys, just trust us on this. Okay, what I will say is, did you and Bree enjoy what y'all had?
We did. And y'all know Bree a picky eater. So she got her a little half a 6-inch steak and cheese and she was feeling it.
See, trust us on this one, you guys. And we're not saying make it a part of your everyday routine like I did these past 2 weeks, but just give them a try and let us know what y'all think.
Got
The
it.
last and final thing that I want to bring up about my week, which I posted about this online to my close friends, but I also had a revelation this week that for some reason, when we get into like grind mode or we're focused on, accomplishing different goals or seeing things through, I realize it's a natural response to kind of start shutting people out of our lives. You know what I mean? Like, because in our heads, it's like, I got to do this. I got to do this for me. Ain't nobody going to help me. I got to focus, tunnel vision, and all of whatever, people say. But I just want to remind everyone that the right people in your life, they are not distractions, or they do not slow down your progress. The right people in your life will actually help multiply your blessings, or will provide you with resources or the mental and spiritual and emotional encouragement that you will need to actually push through and to overcome some of the obstacles. So just want to throw that out there as a reminder, like, be very careful about shutting out or pushing away people that genuinely care about seeing you win and seeing you succeed, because it's easy to become so focused on you that you do kind of shut people out. And at the end of the day, when you get to that goal or when you accomplish whatever it is, you don't want to be standing there alone and still feeling some kind of void,
Yeah.
because the void that you were actually trying to feel outside of success was love and joy and
Yes.
connection. You know what I'm saying? So
That's why I love so much, because no matter what I'm going through, the right people and the right time and the right interaction can really change a bitch mood.
yeah, baby, listen, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So with that being said, those were our weeks. We hope you guys had a great week, but if not,
Try again next week.
and we are gonna move right on along to the best part of the show. Okay. Now, I will say this, we typically follow a format, but today we are swapping things up just a little bit. But if you are interested in hearing our, TV and movie recommendations and pop culture, just sit tight because it will come after Meeting of the Minds today.
That's right.
Okay, so today, you guys, we are joined by a very, very, very special guest. As we mentioned, me and Bianca are so pumped for this conversation because this week we are joined by someone that's very special. She's a producer, a curator, in my opinion, a tastemaker, and really, honestly, just a true beacon of light. So, welcome to the podcast, Amber Juelle.
Yes.
Thank you both for having me. Like, I was very shocked when Bianca asked me to jump on. I was like, me? Okay. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That was so sweet.
Of course. I think both Bianca and I can admit that we often talk about, how everyone has like those social media follows where that person is like your friend in your head. And when you see their content, it can inspire you, encourage you, it makes you laugh, or, something along those lines. And you are definitely that girl for us. So
That's why we wanted to have you on. Because, like Shani said in Amber's introduction, she always just is so full of light. Like when I go to her page, I feel good. Like if I stop by and go through her stories, always something motivational on there. She always giving us, look variety content. I'm at work. But look at this look though. But look how cute my nails is. But I be in the gym and trying to work out and stuff. Like she gives you what you want to see when you go to your social media.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Because really, I be busy. I be tired. So when I do pop and post stuff, it really be just like, this is not that curated, but hey, this is where we're at today. So I
we
appreciate that.
Of course. So one of the reasons why we wanted to have Amber on is we love highlighting and amplifying voices, especially of young women of color who are really finding success in their field or defining their own path and what they want their lives to look like. And in a recent study that I came across by the Center Study for Women in TV and Film, they actually found that the percentage of women working as directors, writers, producers, executive producers, editors, all of those roles has only increased 7% in the last 24 years. So in 2022, they said that the percentage of women in those type of roles was only 24%. And that was actually a decline from 2021, because 2021, it was 25%. So before we get into that specifically, first, let's let the people know a little bit more about who you are. And then I would love to kind of talk more about what you do and how special and unique it honestly still is for women to work in production.
Yes, thank you. Where do I begin? So for one, like when I was younger, like I always was intrigued with storytelling. Y'all know, like when music videos, MTV Jams, 106 in Park, like I would set my grandmother's video recorder to like record the videos while I'm at school so like I can come home and like watch all the music videos, because that like really blew my mind, like just the video production back in the day. I feel like a few of them now are still giving us like those making the video vibes. So just always been in love with storytelling. Always just loved artistry and like artistry in other people, like whether they're writers or actors or singers, like just really loving that space. So when I was in high school and it was like time to start, wondering what I want to go to school for, I'm like, okay, I'm not sure if I really want to go out of state yet. So I'm gonna just go locally to Kent State. Love their fashion program. So I'm like, let me just do that. Cause like, that's where I can still be creative and still, just understand like what it is that I really want to do. I don't know, I didn't want to do anything like nursing I didn't want to be a teacher at one point, but I just knew I wanted to do something just creative, like just where I could just create every day. So that's where that like really started and kicked off for me, like when I went to college. And then after school, like once you finish school, especially when you're someone who's been like school has been the primary focus since you were a child, being in like honor classes, like, okay, let me go to college. Like when it ends, it's like, what do I do with my hands now?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you didn't go to school for something that is expected, like going to school for nursing, going to school for a teacher, just going to school for things that just have like clear direct direction.
Mm-hmm.
So after college, I was in that weird space of like, okay, the things that I'm interested in, there really isn't a play by book to like really guide me into that. So that's where I just started connecting with like just local creators in the city. I threw a brunch one year where I just got together like some of the curators, tastemakers in the city that were all women, like my friend Nicole, Nick Nack, who's a DJ, like she helped me put that together. And then later on, I put together a showcase like with other local artists. Like I just really wanted to create spaces where people can just get up and just express who they are. So that's what kind of led me to moving out to LA. Was just because I just wanted to be in a bigger arena and space. But then also in a place where I could still learn and soak in that energy. So that's kind of like the backstory into like me getting here. And me just starting this journey of producing.
Okay, so when you decided to make the big leap to LA, because Cleveland, LA, that's a leap. Like, was it something that you felt like, okay, I really just need to think about this, or I really want to sit on this, or was it something that you just felt like, no, this is something that I need to do for me as I want to continue to grow?
It was the latter part. And I'm a Pisces. So, and I know your baby's a Pisces, so I'm like, yes. I know, understand. So it's so like we know what we want, but like the things that we want is very abstract at times. So it's kind of like people don't always understand like when we say like this is what we want to do. And it's not like they're like, oh, don't do it, but it's just like, okay, like just okay, like okay, cool. So me moving to LA, like if you ask my mom and my dad, it was literally I don't think I told them I was moving till probably like 6 months.
What?
I feel like it was, yeah. Because, when you want to do something major like that, you want to talk to the people closest to you. But then it's also too like having to understand that everybody may not understand what it is that you're trying to do. So they could say things that is not to derail you, but it can, throw you off your game if you do ask too many people like what's their opinion. So I really kept it close to myself. Didn't have any money saved up. I was working at where was I working at? I was working at the call center at Cleveland Clinic. So at that time, that was like my first 9-to-5 job after college. So I didn't know that we were getting like a 401k. Like I didn't know that it was money accumulating, money accumulating. So I was like, all right, me and my best friend, one of my best friends, Carly, we worked at the same spot in the same department. We're like, we about to just go. Like, she had family that had just moved out there. I don't even know where the conversation came. Like, okay, we're about to just do it. But we were like, we about to move to LA. Like, shit, we not married. We ain't got no kids. Like, it's just us. Like, we could just go. So didn't have any money saved. But like I said, I didn't know that this 401 thing was a thing. So when I quit my job, I took that money out. So it was like maybe $3K that I was able to like pull out. And that was my money to get me to LA. And we drove across the country, like packed up our cars. She packed up her car, I packed up my car, and we drove our shit across the country.
Whoa.
That's crazy.
Talk about a risk, because obviously that's a big move. It's across the country, but we know living expenses, quality, cost of living in LA versus Ohio, it's completely different. So were you afraid? Because that's a big risk. Like that's a big move to bet on yourself and take. At any point, did you have any fear or doubt? And if you did, how did you silence that?
I did. So it was okay. Yeah, we're moving. We would go out there like I think we went out there like 2 times before we actually did move. The second time we did, and we just started looking around at other places, like just scoping the area out where we wanted to go. But honestly, because I wasn't like being so vocal about it, I didn't have any fear. I don't think it didn't become real until I like told my mom and my dad, and it was like I had to stand on that shit, like them asking all the questions, and I didn't have all the answers, but I had to stand on me not having those answers. Like I'm gonna just figure it out, like if I gotta struggle a few months, if I gotta get multiple jobs, I'm gonna do what I gotta do because something is calling me there. Like something is calling me there, and I have to go. And my boyfriend at the time, his mom, I was talking to her about it. And I was like, yeah, if I gotta struggle, I'm gonna struggle. Like I was prepared to just get it, like, do what I gotta do. And she was like, you're not gonna struggle. Like everything is gonna be okay. And you're not gonna struggle. Like you're not gonna struggle. And when I say I did not struggle, like in the like, like when it comes to like getting a job and having money, like I didn't struggle in that aspect. You do have those moments where like you do miss home, and it can be very like, just daunting. Like you're in a new space, new environment. So those were kind of like the struggles I went through. But as far as like a job and making sure my car note and my rent was paid, it was paid. Like I kept it paid. So
wow.
It was really just faith, like, and me just going. Because I will say, like that week before, I was like, shit, like I'm really about to do this. Like it's real. Like I done told all these people, like I can't turn back now. Like it is what it is. Like we're going. Like I'm on the highway. Like I'm not going back. Like this is not a 6-hour drive to Chicago. No, baby, I'm about to see new planes and new lands. Like so, yeah, it was just faith and just jumping on that risk and just going for it. And me moving out here. Honestly.
So how long have you been out there now?
I moved out here in 2017. Yeah. So Yeah, I moved out here in 2017. When the pandemic happened, I did come back home for like 10 months because I was able to work remotely. But now I'm back out here. So,
That's
yeah.
amazing. And now that you're out there, you work at a pretty successful independent creative agency that produces and curates all types of content and immersive experiences. What does that work mean to you? And like, how did you even get your foot at the door, being that you kind of made that change with, you know, like you said, no real guide or plan to follow?
Yeah. So when I first moved out here, the company that I'm at now, it was on my like they were on my radar. Like I'm like, what are they doing? Like it looks amazing. At the time I really didn't understand, like I didn't know what it was. I just knew that it just from the outside looking in is dope and I'm very intrigued. So when I first moved out here, that was not what I wasn't doing what I was doing. I was working at a production company that was more so on the film and like video side of it. So that was like really preparing me, like understanding like the background when it comes to producing things. Even though it's not events where I'm at now, it was still in that production realm. So like understanding timelines, understanding storyline, understanding scheduling and stuff like that. So that really, I think, helped me get to where I'm at now. But then also to just networking and just staying true to who I am. I feel like it's also the other half of it. Like when they say like it's not what you know, it's who you know, like that stuff really it goes twofold because if you know what you know and then you know who you know, it's just a perfect
Can't.
yeah, it's just the
Mm-hmm.
chef's kiss, you know?
Yeah.
Like you still gotta do the work and put the work in and always still like remain true to who you are. So I feel like my experiences at my first job that when I first moved out here really prepared me to like be at this company now.
I think that's awesome because a lot of times when you're breaking into any career field, you do have experiences that become the foundation for you to really build off of. It seems to be like a lot of women that work there, which seems so unique to me in that industry. So, what is that like working with so many women who are passionate about the same thing that you are in creating these experiences?
It is amazing, and it's very inspiring. I feel like just in any industry, like you don't see a lot of women.
Mhm.
You don't, and even like in a lot of like leaderships, you don't see a lot of women. So it is exciting and inspiring because like from the first company I was at, I was the only person of color. I was the only Black person, and I was the only woman at a certain time.
Wow.
So you
Been
know, it was
there.
yeah, and the experience, I didn't have any like bad experience like, working there, but it is being in that space, those type of spaces, it is different, so being able to be around like just women that are just very talented and very knowledgeable, um, it's amazing. And I just feel like in any career, any industry, any job, your voice is just very, very vital. And I feel like no matter where you are, just being able to vocalize what you want, what you stand for, your point of view, like that is very, very like important. So I feel like that's just something that I've just been able to like really soak in and, gain that experience and that knowledge.
I agree with that. And it seemed like so you seem like you have like pretty good experiences with your transition into your career. Do you I know there had to be some kind of challenges though that you experienced though. And what do you think was like the major one that you like took away and grew from and just helped you with where you are today?
I think, and I always feel like just your personal life and your professional life goes hand in hand because things from your personal life can very much bleed into how you react and handle things professionally. So I feel like throughout my whole like job and career journey, just my voice, like vocalizing, like, okay, hey, I'm not aligned with this, like I'm not okay with this, and here's why. So I think in certain situations where you have to like just say, hey, no, this isn't right, or that's wrong, or actually we should do this, like really standing on what it is that you want to say. I think some of my hardships or things that I had to work through is not getting things right all the time. Like, understanding like on your first day at the job, regardless if this is what you've been doing, this is still your first day here. So you're not going to know everything, and you shouldn't expect to know everything. So don't put that pressure on you to know it all, because that's going to just keep you in this rut of like overthinking and not making right decisions because you're trying to do it the right way, the right time. And it's like, be realistic. Like, don't know what you don't know and just ask questions. Like, that is one thing that's like, I'm going to ask questions. And I don't care if I'm annoying. If you want me to do this right, and if you want me to clearly like understand what you're saying, I'm going to ask you questions. So, and
No.
if I get it wrong, it's okay to get things wrong, but the problem solving. Like my old boss, when I worked at the production company, he was from the military. So his way of like, don't come with me with a problem, come with me with a solution, like stuck with me. And it sticks to me to this day, because your problem solving skills is just important in any job and in life, like problem solving.
I think that's amazing and great advice. Because we do have a tendency, just as human beings, that when there's an issue, sometimes we can get stuck in there being a problem, that we lose focus to really redirect that energy into finding the solution or figuring it out. And sometimes it can be tough. So I love that piece of advice.
Because it's the like that part, like repositioning your thoughts and your mind, like when a problem occurs. Because, in any job, things can hit the fan, and in production, it's always going to be something.
I was like, that sounds like one of them jobs where it could be anything at any time, and you just got to be like, okay,
this is like, okay, like, what are we doing today? Like, what is happening today? But really just not being like that paralyzing stuck feeling of like, what do I do? It's like, just quickly shift and let's quickly solve the problem for the next about to occur.
One thing I did want to ask, because I know that outside looking in, sometimes we have one perception of what it might be like working in a specific industry. But if you had to pick one, what would you say is the most common misconception about working in production or event planning, event cure? That face.
It's the behind the scenes, like when I produced and directed like a couple music videos, a couple shorts, and then also to like even just planning events on my own. It's not all glitz and glam. Like, it's so funny because like I will find myself in these spaces to like, if I was a consumer, yes, but like working it, I'm just like looking at the clock like, okay, like I've been up since 6 and it's 2 a.m. Like, I'm ready to go to bed. So that is like, it's work. Like, it's work. And I think sometimes I have to like really remind myself, like, Amber, like, this is something cool, this is something fun, but it's also still like very time consuming. It is not just like parties or just it's not like that all the time. No, because
No.
it's work and it's tiring and it can be long nights for sure. Yes.
I'm glad you cleared that up.
Like,
no, for
my
real.
feet be aching sometimes. Like, I remember after one night, I was like, wow, like, can I even walk? Because like, you're just on your feet. And so I think that's probably if that is a misconception, but it is very tiring.
No, I definitely think it is, because, like I said, I follow the company on social media, and sometimes I see the finished product. I'm like, oh my gosh, that has to be so cool. And I'm sure it's still cool, but I love that you provided that insight, because, when you see a finished product, you don't think about how much time, effort, planning, and work really went into the project to make it what we see at the end, and it sounds like a lot.
Yes. But it's amazing feeling. Just like with anything, like anything that you are creating, producing, like going through the process of it, it is it can be hard. It's hard, but it is like
Mhm.
that amazing feeling, like when it's like you step back and it's done, it's completed. Like that is very
That is
rewarding.
the
And
best
I
feeling
and I know, yeah,
ever.
like yeah, and I know like Bianca with you and writing your books, like in that process, but then when it's done, it's like, yes.
Yes, when it's done, it definitely feels like, look at this. Okay, great.
Yeah, and if you got a story to tell, that you can
Yes.
sit back and laugh on. So yeah.
I just think that's funny because growing up, I too was into like stories. Like I wanted to tell stories all the time, and I wanted to do like create things. And it was also important for me to have a job where I was able to be creative, but I didn't leave school with that mindset. I left school with the mindset like, okay, girl, you got this degree. You better get into this stable job. You better get into this career with this company that you're going to stay at and retire. But it took me a couple years to get to the point where I felt like, no, I should really be trying to do something that like makes me internally happy, that's connected to something that I've always wanted to do, not just what's in my ear about how I'm about to make money. So I just admire the fact that you knew, like, yeah, I went to school fashion. Like, I don't have like no traditional path, but I know that I'm about to do something and this is what I'm about to do. So I just admire that mindset.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's still so many more things that I want to do. And I just feel like, we know what it is that makes our hearts like smile.
Yeah.
We know what it is from the time we're young, but like you said, like we grow up and then society and people like, you got to get this job or
You
can
got
really sort of like dim your light. But I feel like if it's something that just is always reoccurring to you, no matter what it is, no matter where you are, if it's just like continuously coming to you, that
yeah,
is something to act on.
yeah.
Like
Mm.
act on. Whether it's a small act, a large act, just act on it because we're not having those reoccurring thoughts and feelings, for any reason, which is why I had to move out here to LA. And when I moved back home during the pandemic, I'm like, I'm not staying here long. Like I'm just here because the world is in chaos and I want to be close to my family, but I am moving back home. And I mean, I'm moving back to LA, which is my home now. So, and yeah.
That is so inspiring. You actually inspire me in so many ways because I feel like I've been actually sitting on something that I necessarily haven't acted on, but to hear your experience and how, like I said, you really just bet on yourself and with, faith, it worked out. I love that. And one thing I wanted to bring up is that I noticed that you recently collaborated with Self Love Club. You've done curated stuff for them in the past, which for those that aren't aware, Self Love Club is a like mental health organization based in Cleveland, Ohio, that advocates for mental health awareness and really just like a really supportive group or organization. And you actually lended your voice for one of their inspirational messages recently. So I wanted to ask because a big part of your presence online to me is just how you, like I said earlier, are a beacon of light and try to uplift other people around you. So how important is engaging, and putting out stuff that is uplifting and encouraging for you?
It is very important. Thank you so much, Shani, because that really, if it's not, I can't do fake shit. Like, just to the point. Like, I cannot. And I'm very sensitive. I wouldn't say sensitive. I'm very just selective to like just energy and vibes. And if my energy and vibe is right. So, because I always just feel like how you approach things and that energy that you are is what you're going to receive back. So, like, that is very important to me. Like, really connecting with other like minded people that are authentic and just doing good and wanting to do good and not do harm because that's really like is my purpose and what really like lights my heart up is just being authentic. Like
Mm.
being authentic and whatever that is. Um, so I really love partnering with the Self Love Club for that reason because what they stand for is just everything that I believe in. And that's just how I am with, like, with spending my money. You know, like, if your energy is off, if your message is weird, I don't know if I could really engage for me. But yeah, I really do love partnering with the Self Love Club and just being with things that just are aligned, like Mindful BS podcast. Like, thank you. Like, it's stuff like this that we need more of. And I always just feel like people who it's for, they're going to find, it's going to reach their ears. You know? So yeah.
I love that.
Me too.
I love that. And I feel like that's a good place to almost leave off at too, because to your point, it's all about listening to your intuition, that voice, those reoccurring thoughts that come in your head, and just making sure you're in alignment. And I think you're an amazing example of when you are in tune with yourself and operating from a space of like love and positivity, how things like your steps are literally ordered for you. And I think it allows you to navigate life with so much more ease, you know, when you're not constantly almost battling yourself or, you know, being like a bad person. I believe in karma. So when you know.
No, true. Because life is like, shit is hard. Like, everybody is dealing with shit.
Yeah.
And you don't know what the next person is dealing with, no matter how big or how small. But just staying true to who you are will really just make those punches hit a lot softer. You know, it'll be able to roll off a little bit just when you are not operating from a place of trying to prove anything to anybody or trying to make anybody feel like you're really just moving off a place for you that makes you feel good, that's not causing any harm to anybody else. Like,
yeah,
I'm true about that. Like, yeah, just gotta move authentically and be aligned and have integrity with what you do, you know.
Yeah. Well,
that's why I feel like I've been very in a hermit stage, like just with my own personal like curation. So I'm like hearing that you guys like can still go to my page and you still feel some type of inspiration, like that makes me feel so good because I feel like I've been in such just this very hermit stage of my life.
Girl, the light is still shining.
Right, the light is still
Yes.
shining. And that was what I wanted to say. The last thing I wanted to say was, of course, you wasn't gonna have no struggle because once you're living in your path, this is what you were supposed to do. And I feel like that's why I gotta make sure you ain't had no struggle making that expensive move to LA. That's why your car note was always paid and your rent was gonna be paid, and you was always gonna be cool because you just give back to the universe what it's about to give back to you. So that's why.
Yes. This fit me after like yes.
It got some booty shorts with it. That's why I ain't but
cheeks all out, girl. All
she, right?
out.
But yeah, it's my favorite. I'm in the house. I'm trying to be comfy and cute. Look,
Right. I got a little bit similar too.
Oh my goodness. So before we close it out, you've already dropped so many gems, honestly, and gave so many inspiring messages. But before we close out, if there was one final thing that you could say to anybody listening to this in this moment, what would it be?
It would be just go for it. Like, just do it because, you know, life is short, but life is meant to be lived. And, you know, we do not have any time to be living a life that we do not love. So just do what makes you happy. Like, please. Like, just please do what makes you happy, you know, and just go for it. That's all I can say. And move with love. Like, move with love.
Yes.
Okay.
Love that. Oh, well, thank you again for joining us today, Amber Juelle. It's been such a pleasure.
Yeah, I would love to be back on. Talk to me on TV. Look, I was ready to go talk about Potomac, y'all, but
well,
okay.
maybe
we didn't even talk about Potomac this week for real. But you know what? We might come back and do like a reality TV cap or something like a midweek, and we ain't
Okay,
breaking
let
you
me
on
know
for that
though, because I be on
that's
all the shows.
That would be better anyway, because the last episode of the reunion
here
airs
tonight.
tonight,
Yeah. So we can talk about that too. And Amber, you probably don't, but do you watch Vanderpump Rules?
Don't. I have
Girl,
not watched.
okay.
Are they bringing that like? Is
I'm
this still
out.
on?
She's
I'm out
invested.
here. I'm
Oh, yeah.
out here looking for somebody who mind is just as blown as me, girl, because they got some real scandals going on the show. But I know that ain't really people's genre. But I'm telling you,
Girl, she called me like,
Not too bad, not too bad.
she called me like, did you hear what happened with Tom and Tom? I don't know who these people are.
I'm trying to make her remember stuff from when I didn't just had her watching in the background. I'm like, remember that one time when they was?
No, I don't.
Oh my goodness. Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
So you guys, we're going to take a quick ad break and then we will continue with the rest of the show.
Yeah, so let's just get right into TV. But before we get into the actual shows, I want to talk about what's been going on behind the shows, because Andy was collecting the checks this weekend. Okay, he already know the ratings for next season are going to be through the roof, because there's been actual breaking news on major platforms of each of the shows. But I know y'all not really no Vanderpump Rule fans, and I get it. Now, that was one of them shows, at one point I was just really into Lisa Vanderpump, and she had a spinoff show, and I got sucked in. And y'all know when I be getting sucked in the shows, sometimes it just be a little harder for me to break away. Vanderpump Rules, that's one of those guilty pleasure shows that I still be watching. Anyway, I'm bringing it up because they have a cheating scandal on there going on in real time that's so big, and I don't even be invested in cheating scandals like this. But this one is so layered and so boom and so out of whack that I can't help but to be wondering what's going on next. Like, okay. So basically, to get to some of that real quick, all of these people used to work at Lisa Vanderpump's restaurant, Sir. So they're waitresses, but they was all like models and, basically trying to make it friend group typical. It's a whole bunch of couples in the friend group. Now, the two couples that were on there the longest were Katie and Tom Schwartz. Katie and Tom Schwartz were together a total of 12 years, but they was only married for 2. Sandoval and Ariana, they have not been married. But they have been together for 10 years. One of the things in a relationship was Tom wanted to get married, but Ariana didn't, for real. Yeah. So then there was Raquel and James. Raquel was this sweet pageant queen girl from a small town, coming to make it, trying to model. She ended up with James. James was a jerk asshole. Nobody could understand like why they was together. It was one of them bad boy, good girl type situations. Anyway, last season they got engaged. It was all boom, fireworks. Raquel found out James was cheating on her. Engagement was over. She was heartbroken. Everybody was like, oh, poor Raquel. So fast forward to this season, it just started. They engagement got called off. Katie and Tom got divorced.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so like this supposed to be like, her hot girl summer, whatever situation. So right off the gate, Raquel is not the same Raquel that's been on this show, because she been on the show playing the very innocent, doty, nice girl, Raquel. Girl, even on the first couple episodes, she been telling Katie, the one that's recently divorced, like, actually, I do got a crush on your husband. And actually, I would entertain hooking up with him. How you gonna say that to somebody about their ex-husband? Katie made it very clear to her that that was not okay and that she would not be okay. Tom is her ex-husband. The Toms are best friends, like that, like super best friends. Like the first time his marriage was over, basically, because he put and so much time and effort in his relationships and projects that he had going on with Tom.
Oh, wow.
So during this season, we even see like Raquel asking Tom Schwartz, like, do you want to make out with me? So we already looking at Raquel sideways anyway, because like, girl, why you trying to hook up with your friend? Y'all not like the best of friends, but y'all in the same circle, essentially. Why you trying to hook up with her ex-husband? And then yesterday it came out that she actually having a full-blown affair with the other Tom, the Tom that's been married. I mean, that's not married. So for the last 7 months, him and his woman have been together for 10 years. Him and his girlfriend, Ariana, and the girl, Raquel, are friends. Like, she actually, like, was one of the only people who, like, welcomed her when she first got here. Raquel got a bad nose job. They was selling feet pictures to, like, help her pay to raise money.
No, shut up. You are
Girl,
making
like,
this up.
no, I'm not. Like, they was doing all
No.
no. I'm trying to, and I'm saying that because, bitch, like, you my friend. If I'm fucking selling pictures of my feet on the internet to try to help you come up with $30,000, it's just, that's her friend. She was staying in their house in their guest room, girl, not them hooking up while Ariana sleep.
But you know what? The grandmas and the aunties used to say back in the day, you don't let no woman in your house. You don't come and let people stay with you because they say that's what happens.
Yes. And then they said this been going on for 7 months, girl. They've been walking around with matching like lightning bulb necklaces without people knowing that meant that was for their love for each other. And they not even just hooking up. Now they talking about they want to be together. Girl, and in between that, she done already hooked up with Giselle from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills son. The next episode is gonna be with her hooking up with him. And girl, he married.
Oh.
And when the season even started, she was already trying to dating or hooking up with her manager at SIR.
All I can say is this sounds really messy. Oh my gosh.
Listen, like Raquel, baby girl, I get it, your feelings hurt, but I feel like she just said, well, if I'm gonna hurt, everybody's gonna hurt.
She's
because
having
what
her
are we doing?
She having her city girl moment. It's giving a city girl moment. It's giving an icy girl. She does not care. She's living her life. And I'm gonna pray for her, honestly.
And one of the other girls on the show, Sheena, that's really good friends with Ariana, apparently Raquel and her was on Watch What Happens Live, and Raquel, like, they had asked a question about like who. Andy was asking Sheena who's the hottest Tom, and she's like, Sheena answered like Sandoval, and then she answered at the same time like Sandoval. So Andy was like, oh, you answered too. And she like, well, and apparently she had told Sheena after they filmed the show that she was hooking up with the Tom, and Sheena punched her.
Oh my goodness.
Girl, and all of this, and y'all know Bravo was like, hold on, we'll be there in 10, because their show was wrapped. And it's airing now, but now they didn't got them scheduled for 2 weeks of production, and they was on scene right after Ariana found out. They said, come on, let's do it. Sit down at the house. Let's get it rolling. And they about to add it to this current season.
That seems like a very common thing that's happening more and more in reality TV. It's like them trying to get us the content sooner. How do you feel about that?
I like it because it does, like, if we got to wait 6 months to watch something that we heard about, it's not as interesting or entertaining because, like, we didn't already seen how it play out.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's all from all the comments, they like, you could skip whatever y'all planned on showing us for the rest of the season of Vanderpump Rules and just hop right to real time.
That's crazy. Well, I mean, yeah, I knew it was a big deal. I don't watch Vanderpump Rules, but I literally randomly got on Instagram and seeing people making posts about what's happening right now. Even like Chrissy Teigen made a post where she's like, I have about 20 or 40 different group chats going. They're all about Vanderpump Rules, different people from different age groups, like completely different
Yes.
lifestyles, but everyone is currently invested in this debacle.
It's because one, Vanderpump Rules is not a new show. These people have been on the show for like 10 years, and the times are like 35. So it's like they're literally doing the same stuff that they were doing when we first started watching the show in their 20s. Like, why are we thought y'all was progressing? You know, they had bought houses, they were investing in business ventures. So you thinking like y'all really growing, and y'all really just doing the same. I really don't understand.
Yeah, that's wild. Well, another case of people that are much older and we are expecting to see growth is actually Chris Rock. So, if those that didn't know, Chris Rock actually just had his very first public, well, I won't say his very first, but televised special on Netflix. It was their first time doing a live stand-up comedy special. It was called Chris Rock Selective Outrage, in which he finally addressed publicly his thoughts on the situation with Will Smith and all of that stuff. But I do want to note that there were also there was a post show as well with other comedians like Arsenio Hall, Dana Carvey, David Spade, Yvonne Orji, and so many more comedians, which I kind of feel like completely got overshadowed because everyone is talking about his commentary on the situation that happened what feels like ages ago at this point.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, shortly after the slap, Chris Rock did go on tour, but it was one of those comedy tours where they pretty much collect your phone and
or nothing, say nothing, hear nothing, and you was just there.
yep, you were just there. Now, when that was happening, there were rumors that he was essentially testing out some jokes. One, which actually made it to the Netflix special, which was about how he jokingly said he watched Emancipation so he could see Will Smith get whooped or beat on, which not, you know,
Yeah.
and I really don't want to get into it because honestly, I'm tired of it. But I am curious to know because I'm hearing a lot of mixed reviews. Some people said they found it funny, but I'm going to be honest, most of the people or most of the reviews that I saw, people did not seem impressed. One person that I follow, I'm not going to say her name on here, she literally posted a comedy show with no comedy. What a shame. Like,
Oh,
and there are a
dang.
lot of articles of people also saying that they felt like the show was a representation of someone trying to deliver comedy from a space of kind of not really being healed from the situation, and that they felt that in his delivery. So, my question for you is, what are your thoughts on the timing of the comedy special? You know, the fact that it was live, the fact that it's kind of happening so
Yeah,
far later, you know?
yeah, I feel like we heard about the show coming though. So I feel like the timing of it was a planned event. I do feel like it is ironic though that people have basically moved on from the situation. Will is making his way back into the Hollywood scene. He's getting awards and stuff now, and we
Belair just
Belair
wow.
just dropped. Like he's getting back into the Hollywood scene, good graces. So it is like, of course, around this time, then this drops because most of those jokes were bringing it back up, adding fuel back to the fire. But I agree with Shani. I've heard a lot of reviews saying that it just wasn't funny. Like the situation, like we could do without. So, but I did hear but other people did think that it was funny. So I guess it's what's for you is gonna be for you. What's not.
Yeah. If you guys watched it, let us know what your thoughts are. I have not seen it yet, and I don't really know if I'm going to watch it, which is kind of weird. Like a part of me I want to just to see, but again, I'm just really over
Okay.
hearing about it, you know?
Yeah.
Now, another thing that I recently discovered on Netflix, two shows. I'm gonna keep this very quick. One is a show called Triptych. It starts off following a lady named Aleda Trujano that learns that she is one of 3 triplets. They were all separated at birth. And after this surprising discovery, the detective embarks on a dangerous search for clues to unravel her mysterious past. Now, this show, it is a show that takes place in like a different country. I want to say it's like Spanish, so you kind of got to watch it translated. But you guys, if you guys can get past that, this show I thought was really good. It takes you on a roller coaster ride. It gets a little bit of sciencey because it's like, how were they separated? How were these triplets even born? It's a very, very good watch. Another show on Netflix available to watch now is a show called The Recruit. Have you seen that before?
What?
The Recruit?
I
No.
seen the advertisement for it at the top of the screen.
I'm not doing this with you. Well, I did recently hop into the show called The Recruit. Now, The Recruit is about a CIA lawyer that gets caught up in a dangerous game of international politics when a former asset threatens to expose the nature of her relationship with the CIA unless they clear her name. From the very first episode, I was invested. So if you're into like politics, crime, spies and stuff like that, you will definitely like The Recruit. There's 1 season available now, and recently got greenlit for the 2nd season, so there is more to come. And then 2 last things. I know you like, girl. That Girl Lele. Y'all know I like something for the kids. That Girl Lele season 2 recently dropped on Netflix, and me and my daughter are fans of That Girl Lele, and we're really enjoying it. Why are you
Yeah,
making that
my
face?
daughter really like That Girl Lele too. I don't know. I feel like I've been just drained from all the iCarly, Sam and Cat. I like That Girl Lele, but all of those shows just irritate me when I hear them in the background. All I hear is fucking cheesy ass quotes and lines and scenarios, and they be cool for the kids, but that is not the background genre I be trying to hear. So yeah, it's cute though.
It's cute. So if you have little ones, especially little girls, they probably will enjoy it. Like I said, me and my daughter really enjoyed it. And honestly, I'm just rooting for Lele because the people have really been coming for her lately. And I don't understand why. Like, they were mad at her because she had some fake nails on that they said were too long for her to be, doing children's TV.
Yeah.
Then she recently, I think, introduced Lil Baby at the Nickelodeon Kids Choice Awards. And she said, like, my man, which clearly she was playing around. They were mad at her for calling him her man. I'm just like, my girl cannot catch a break.
Me and Bree watched the Kids' Choice Awards yesterday. She had me, forced me, but I thought it was interesting because I was telling Shani, like, even Lil Baby performing, I'm like, this song is not giving kids vibe. It's definitely giving um, a rap with I'm not gonna say the cuss words. And then, but Shani made a good point about how like this what the kids really be listening to though. And I was like, yeah, because in my mind, I'm like, what's the kid music? Like, of course, it ain't no kid music.
No.
Like, this is what they be listening to.
Yes. And even when you think about it, even when the kids listen to Kids Bop, those songs sound just like the regular songs. The only difference is that there are kids singing or rapping them, and they change the words from the cuss words. So instead of
Yeah.
saying, I'm about to get effed up, they say, I'm about to turn up. But it's like it's the same
Yeah.
thing. So I don't know. I'm rooting for you, Lele. Just hang in there,
I
girl.
like you, Lele, though. You so cute and you got that super just bubbly personality. And I just see good things for her in her future.
I do too. And one thing I will say about this season that I love is after the episodes air, it's like usually like a little bit of clip of her just talking about her personal life.
Yeah, I like that too. Like when she was like,
Yeah.
I like to do yoga, and now that's the part of the show I actually be getting with when she was talking about like I like to start my day doing and meditating, just introducing them to new concepts and things. I like that.
Yeah. And I'm gonna be honest, my daughter went through a phase where why am I getting emotional? My daughter went through a phase where she just kind of kept saying she wanted like long hair, or at one point she's like, I want blonde hair and stuff like that. But just because she watches Disney movies and cartoons and stuff, and you will see a lot of times, young white animated characters, or most of the princesses, are white or whatever. And it honestly wasn't until we started watching That Girl Lele that she would say, like, no, actually, mommy, can you give me two buns, two puffs for
Yeah.
school? You know what I mean? Oh my gosh, I love her braids. Like, mommy, can I get my hair braided? So just wanted to reiterate how important representation is. And I know that sometimes as parents, we look at especially kids celebrities to be role models for our children. I think it's great that she has an impact where she can inspire kids, or just remind them that how they look, especially ones that look like her, like, you are beautiful like this. But stop trying to force little kids and celebrities to be role models for your children. Like, if she wants to wear long nails, she can wear long nails. And as a
Right.
parent, it's my job to be like, okay, girl, that's cute, but you can't do it right now. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be older or whatever. But yeah. Ooh, why did I just have that moment? Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry, girl.
It's fine.
Oh my goodness. Who am I becoming? Yeah. So the last thing that I wanted to mention in this segment are the Creed. Obviously, Creed 3 just came out. Have you ever watched the Creed movies?
Yeah, I always thought the Creed movies were good.
Okay, so I'm the only one that just watched them this past week.
No, you're not the only one. I've seen a couple people tweeting about not seeing them, but for the most part, I feel like it's one of those movies that, majority of us have seen.
Theme. Okay. So I watched both 1 and 2 the past on like Thursday, I think. And I did watch Creed 3. Now I'm not gonna spoil the movie for anybody, but what I will say is that in watching Creed 3, it just felt totally different than the other two Creed movies. I almost feel like it, like, if I'm looking at it like a trilogy, Creed 3 didn't really feel like it was part of a trilogy,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I didn't hate the movie. I mean, I'm not saying that I didn't like the movie, excuse me. I'm not saying I didn't like the movie, but the creative direction and the storyline, it just felt different. Now, I will say that I like the storyline. There were a lot of elements that it made me happy to see on the big screen. Like, I like that they had deaf representation, with his daughter. I like the fact that we got elements of seeing a Black man, a father, being soft with his children. You know what I mean? And dressing up, or playing pretend. I like the development that happened between Michael B. Jordan and Jonathan Majors' character, where you can see Black men finding their version of healing and finding a way to channel their pain into a passion. Um, but I honestly just wish the movie could have been like 30 minutes longer, so we would have got more character development in the beginning. Or
Okay. I
I
really got
don't
to check it out
know.
now. Because
Yeah.
you're giving this, and all I've seen on the timeline is Creed 3 was amazing. Creed 3 was a great movie. Creed 3 was like, I haven't seen one comment like this. So that's
Okay.
why.
And I will say, I do still think Creed 3 was a great movie. I would highly recommend it if you're able to get out to the theaters to watch it, that you do so. I think the fact that I watched the other two movies in Creed 3 so closely together, I think
Yeah.
that's what really amplified this one feeling so different to me than
Yeah.
the first two. You know what I mean? Because I had just seen them. And Sylvester Stallone is not in Creed 3.
Yeah.
Um, and I personally did kind of miss his presence a little bit.
Okay.
It wasn't, I didn't feel like we needed to have him there, but it just felt slightly strange to me because his character was so prominent in the first
And all
two.
the other ones.
And
Yeah.
when the second one ended, they did have the camera pan to his back. So a part of me thought like he was gonna be gone, but I
Yeah.
thought they would have at least tied in why he wasn't there or something in the beginning of Creed 3, and it wasn't. Like, he just wasn't there.
Got you.
But I'm not gonna say no more because I don't want to spoil it. But yeah, that'll wrap up this week's TV segment.
Okay. So last week, y'all remember before I know we wrapping up TV and moving into pop culture, but last week I was telling y'all I was watching the Murdaugh murders on Netflix. Well, this week in real life, Alex Murdaugh got sentenced. Okay, he got found guilty. Okay, so I feel like I told y'all I was watching the show, but I didn't really give y'all really no background. So basically, Alex Murdaugh is a lawyer. He comes from a prominent family. They're from down south, so they take that name, power, wealth shit very seriously down there. He was a part of this rich family, but then all of a sudden, like, they was always involved in some murdery shit type shit. Even before his wife and son got murdered, there was an incident with his son where he had a boating accident where he actually ended up killing one of his friends because she got thrown out the boat. Then they have another member of the family. They have his older brother was in a situation where he was supposed to be secretly dating a classmate that also ended up they found in the middle of the road dead. Basically, it was always all these weird things happening, but what this case was about was Alex shooting his wife and his son and trying to say that he wasn't at the scene of the crime, but with the smoking gun in the case was they actually had video footage on his son's phone with his voice in the background. So he was actually there at the scene minutes before both his wife and his son were literally executed in the yard.
Yeah. I really don't have any commentary on this, but I mean, I would highly recommend you check out the documentaries because the whole this case as well as the cases that Bianca alluded to and just the story about this family and their reputation within their community. The whole thing is just interesting, and to Bianca's point, I think you said it last week, it's just a reminder of how power and money really can help you escape a lot of um consequences for the things that you've done. You know what I mean? So it's really, really interesting.
And on top of being a murderer, he was also a thief. He was stealing millions of dollars from the law firm that he was working from his clients. He had a drug problem that he said cost him up to $10,000 a week. Like, they were some wild boys, okay? That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, very, very interesting. And since we are talking about things that we mentioned last week, I did really quickly want to mention we talked about AI last week, and literally shortly after our episode dropped, there was new AI technology that was discussed by, I think Young Guru is the one who posted it, which he's someone like a studio engineer that has worked on a lot of projects for Jay-Z. And in the video he posted, there is allegedly like this AI operated voice filter that they can put over anyone's voice. And in this video specifically, they put it over the voice and it made the rapper sound exactly like Kendrick Lamar. Like,
Crazy.
it's so wild. So just wanted to bring that up because we were just talking about how quickly things are developing with AI. And it's like now they can do voice simulations. And I can just see how tricky and how weird that would be. Because, like, imagine, I don't know, imagine them getting the voice of someone popular and having them say something really, really messed up, especially when we already live in an age of anything can get you canceled. And it's just really scary to me that now they can do that with your voice. And that I feel like would be even harder to prove that it's not you saying what it said.
It sounds just like you.
Exactly. There's no image to go off of with it. So just keep your eyes open on AI, and as more updates come out with anything that we've discussed before, we'll always try to share with you guys and loop you in.
Yes. So speaking of technology, imagine you get in your car one day, you had a long week, you just been discombobulated, you might have forgot to pay your car note. You planned on it, but you didn't actually get to it. You driving to work, but your car hit a U-turn and drive to the
Shut up.
No,
See?
I'm dead at no dead ass. So Ford is like not playing. They have actually applied for this patent for this technology where the car will repo itself. You don't make your payment and it's gonna start slow. They gonna have increments. So say you don't make your payment, they like disable your air conditioner or your radio. And then if that don't work, so it's unpleasant for you to be in the car. Then they may lock you out the car if you don't pay. And then they also said that they'll have things set in place like allowing the driver to access on weekdays to the car, like if you have to go to work, or making a geo fence, basically saying you can only drive within these parameters. And then if all of that work and you don't make the payment, the car gonna drive itself to the lot.
Oh wow. So in theory, I'm not gonna say I hate this idea, and I know some of y'all think like, girl, bye. Because have you ever watched those shows back in the day where they would be doing like the repossessions? And it used to be so escalated. You know what I mean? Like people be trying to fight, like
they do.
Yeah, like really trying to fight or harm the people who are literally just trying to do their job and repossess the vehicle. So in theory, I do like that it eliminates that. But once again, with the technology advancements, like what if my car get hacked and
right,
you know what I mean? Like it's already self-driving, so now it's just driving. They drive me somewhere else. You get what I'm saying?
right.
Like I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like that. Just
And then
the
like, can it censor that somebody's in the car so it won't do it while someone's in it? You know what I mean? Like, can they censor by the seats where it's like, okay, we can tell nobody's sitting on the seat, so now we'll repossess the car. You know what I mean?
So, because like if the car is in the garage, I'm sure they're not gonna expect it to fly out the back of the garage without being open. So I'm sure some kind of like technology in place for things like that. But it's just like
that's too much. Because then, like, what if it accidentally? Okay, so my child would never be in the car by themselves, but it just makes me think like I feel like this it could almost be like it's kidnapping people if it doesn't censor humans in the car. You get what I'm saying?
Agree.
For y'all better be careful and think of, I'm sure y'all have a team, but think of all of these things because I just feel like although the intention is right, I could see this resulting in a lot of lawsuits and other issues. Like, how you gonna turn my AC off?
And my radio?
My radio? Like
lock me out my own car.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't like it.
They funny though, because they know what to take, the joys and pleasures to take away though.
Okay. And since we're on the topic of technology, TikTok is also thinking they about to start snatching some joys and pleasures away, specifically for users under the age of 18. So the company recently announced that in the coming weeks, any account that belongs to a user below the age of 18 will automatically be set to a 60-minute daily screen time limit. They've been working with the Boston Children's Hospital about, discovering digital wellness and trying to make sure that they help our young folks manage quality of life and not be on the screen so much. And it turns out that if there are teenagers, there will be an option for them to enter a passcode to continue watching more. But what it looks like the parents will actually have to set up that code and allow the child to watch more. So what do you think about this 60-minute limit idea?
I think it's necessary. As a parent, you make mistakes and you can admit to your mistakes. And I definitely feel like letting Bria be on TikTok was one of those mistakes that I made as a parent. And it's just like so hard to get her off it, like to pull her off. Like, obviously, I can be like, don't be on TikTok, or you can only be like, I myself can be like, you can only be on TikTok for an hour. But I do like that the TikTok is acknowledging like the kids do not be trying to get on TikTok. So like I agree. I think we need to, and I always be telling Bria, like, you better count your days because they're trying to get rid of TikTok. And I don't let you on TikTok a lot, but you're not about to be on TikTok at all.
Yeah. I'm I'm actually really curious to see, because I honestly do think it's going to happen. I think they're going to get rid of it. And especially with, the country dynamics currently. And I just feel like once they do, I know there are other platforms like YouTube has YouTube Shorts, we have Instagram Reels, but for some reason, I feel like it's going to be a really tough transition for the people that low key are daily, and avid
Yeah.
users of TikTok. Like I could see people really being distraught for a
Yeah,
nice
not
chunk of
just, and I'm
time.
not even just talking about the kids. The
Yeah.
adults, like people in general would
I
be disturbed.
I think so. So I'm really curious to see how that's gonna play out.
Yeah, me too. Also, I'm also curious about this new. Have you heard about the 15-minute city concept that Cleveland is entertaining?
I have, thanks to you.
Yeah, I don't know because if you guys aren't hip, I mean, 15-minute cities aren't a new thing. Basically, it's a design concept for a culture in which everything that you essentially need is either a 15-minute walk or a 15-minute bike ride away from your home, such as groceries, leisure, lifestyle, just gas stations, and things like that. It's also the idea that if everything is 15 minutes away from you, that you won't need a vehicle. It's also supposed to be a carbon, help the environment type situation. And while that all seems good and all, it also gives me like Hunger Games District 1 through 19 vibes. It's like, okay, where you live at would be technically your city, and you basically stay within these grid lines. But it feels like it could slowly turn into, okay, yeah, so we've decided you guys don't need cars because what do you need cars for? You guys can just stay within your city. And then it seems like y'all see them movies where you gotta cross with your facial IDs through the to get to enter other districts. I just feel like it could just be conspiracy theory me, but 15-minute city sounds like they can turn into 15-minute districts, if you ask me.
Yeah. When Bianca first shared this with me, I was definitely conflicted because when we talk about accessibility within communities, there are disparities. Like if you're familiar with the term food deserts, it's actually fact that in some communities they don't have access to grocery stores, within a certain mile radius, or healthy food, or gyms, or even childcare facilities. Like some communities legit have none of those things, and it's almost necessary for you to have a vehicle or use public transportation to make it out of your area so you can access these things. So, from that standpoint, I do like the idea of a 15-minute city because I think we sometimes forget that we are fortunate, you know what I mean, to have vehicles and
Mhm.
to have the financial capacity to go further out to get the things that we need when we need it. But unfortunately, especially as the economy continues to look a little shakier and inflation continues to go up, the accessibility to things unfortunately is plummeting in the process. So from
Mhm.
that standpoint, I like it. I feel like as long as they don't try to restrict people from leaving outside of their district or whatever they're going to call it, I'm pro this idea. But I do think if it gets to the point where it's like, hey, everything that you need is here, so there's no reason for you to go anywhere else. And if you want to travel somewhere else, you got to submit, paperwork or do all of this. I'm not for the idea. I think that's messed up, and I do feel like it could be a way of trying to control people.
Right.
Um, so I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about it, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, it's already active in like Paris and they have some in like Ottawa, but they were all basically real big after coming back after the pandemic. So I feel like it's another way to try to reshape society as we enter back into a normal or quote unquote normal society. So
Yeah, it's interesting. I wasn't gonna bring this up, but you see they bully Isaiah Washington into retiring from acting.
yeah, that's what they said. But I'm gonna be honest, he always been giving me the controversy that he had been aside. I'm like, do he do this to himself?
Well, the only reason why I brought that up is because the idea of the 15-minute city is something that you do see in other countries. I'm not gonna name them that are like communists. And in his one of his Twitter posts, he basically said, like, I'm retiring. I'm about to try to enjoy life before we enter into this period of socialism or communism. Yeah.
That part.
Yeah. And
I'm
I thought it was
interested.
interesting that, yeah, he alluded to stepping away from acting because of, all of the drama, but also saying that he was about to try to enjoy things before.
Before, yeah.
And I was like,
I don't know. I don't
me either.
know.
Now, this actually wasn't on the list, but if you don't mind me just tossing it in real quick. Um, for those that aren't familiar, there is a designer, a Black designer named Brandon Blackwood, who really hit the scene with his handbags, specifically his in systemic racism bag. Like, it happened, I want to say they launched around the time of, the Black Lives Matter movement and some really horrific things happening within the Black community. And they caught on like wildfire. Like, his PR plan was on point. He had literally every major celebrity posting with a Brandon Blackwood bag. And since then, he has moved on to create clothing items. We've seen Serena Williams, Tessa Thompson, like major celebrities wearing his brand. And more recently, he just announced that he's about to have a shoe collection drop on March 17th. Did you see that?
What? I did not see that.
Yes, but the one that caught my attention is he has a heel called the joint heel. I don't know. Can you see it? Hold on. Let me show Bianca, you guys.
Oh, that's cute.
And
That's a real lip gloss.
a joint,
Oh,
the joint heel.
oh, that's a joint in the heel.
Girl.
Oh my God, I thought that was some lip gloss.
So there's like, I want to say there are at least 8 shoes dropping on March 17th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And one of them is the joint heel. So it's funny because in the comments, everyone was like, I just want to know if it's smokable. Like the post said, all we can say is that she'll look smoking, like wink face in the heel. Like, I don't know, it was really, really cute. It's a nice collection of shoes. There were several shoes that I thought looked really good, so just wanted to throw that out there because I think it's nice to see that he is transitioning into more than just handbags, and it seems like the transition is going well for him, which we know that don't always happen when you try to get out of one lane.
We love to see it. Expansion, elevation, growth.
I'm interested though. What if it's probably just hemp or something, or like
It probably is.
tobacco?
But y'all know, if y'all listening, y'all like, I feel like Bianca just deserves nice things, and I would love to gift her something. Those sound cute. I would.
No, the heel really, really is super, super cute. So, March 17th, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're interested, you can check out the website to see all of the shoes that are dropping. But there really are some cute ones. And there was not a price point drop,
I was just gonna ask you that.
So we don't have exact prices, but he did recently do an article in which he said that he doesn't want to come out of the gate with a $600, $800 shoe. So I do think it will be affordable. He said he wants to keep them within the same price realm as some of his bags. So, that's honestly probably running price for a shoe now anywhere from like $80 to $150, which is so crazy to me. But
okay, well, we gonna see.
All right, and that is all I have for pop culture today.
Oh, well, I do want to, I could just add something since we just add and shit.
Yeah.
Kiki Palmer had made this cute little video where she was basically like, single parents, like, I salute y'all because, I'm only a couple days in, and to have a village, I know it's optional. And I just want to say, having a village it is optional. Like, you think that you have kids and everybody around you or close to you is gonna be like your village, but your village be coming in so many different formats or versions or people that you don't even realize that you need it in your village. And my daughter's birthday is coming up this week, and people have been asking me like, well, what does she need? What does she want? Like, how can I help? And knowing that I'm not gonna ask, and I just wanted to say shout out to my village, and I'm grateful for having a village. It ain't as big as I would like it to be, but
And get the job done.
it really does. It get it done, and I'm just grateful for just the ability to have some kind of village, because it's like this single mom shit hard. Okay.
Yeah, I love that. Take a moment to thank your village this week. Or this might be even a good point. Y'all know we love giving y'all a reflection assignment. Sit back and reflect on who is in your village currently. Because I think the interesting thing about the village is that it also changes throughout the stages of your life as well. So it's kind of interesting to see how people can come and go and come back, or how different people support you in different ways. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, awesome. Well, on that note, we are going to close out this week's episode. If you made it here, thank you so much for listening. And we hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoy recording it. As always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and rate our podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartMedia, literally anywhere podcasts are streamed.
Mm-hmm. And don't forget to tell a homeboy, to tell a homegirl, drop us in your group chats, do whatever it is that you got to do to just keep spreading this favorite podcast of yours that's Mindful BS.
Yeah. And on that note, we will catch you guys next week. Bye.